to finish other things as well. We are supposed to manifest the members of the special committee. Okay, later. Yes. But they're coming. Yeah, later. This is the first hearing, right? It's a special committee. Yeah. So thank you to all our resource speakers. Ang dami nyo, no? We appreciate your coming, and we would not be able perhaps to hear the opening statement or the comments of each of you, but I would like to ask you to give your comments and soft copy to the committee. So today we will discuss PS Resolution 627-635, addressing what happened several months ago, the tragic fire at the Manila Central Post Office, and PS 636, focusing on the imperative restoration and rehabilitation of this iconic landmark. 637, delving into the investigation of the fire that engulfed the post office, and 642, it directs our attention to the broader scope of investigating both natural and man-made disasters affecting cultural heritage sites. So we convene with a solemn recognition of the significance of the Central Post Office building, an architectural gem that has withstood the test of time for a little less than 100 years. So wala pang 100, it's just 97. Its endurance through the decades has been a testament to its resilience, cultural importance, and it has a place in our shared heritage. So in 2012, is NHCP here? Architect Maria Luz, yes, okay. The National Historical Commission bestowed upon the Manila Central Post Office the prestigious title of National Historical Landmark. Subsequently, in 2018, the National Museum elevated its status further by designating it as an important cultural property. So a structure can both be designated by both institutions of government, right? One does not have exclusive jurisdiction over the other. In this case, it's both, right, Jeremy?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Our designation as ICP was more for its architectural merit.
The aesthetics, yes.
Yes.
Okay, very clear. So it's both an ICP and what is the other one?
NHL, National Historical Landmark.
NHL, yes. So these, you don't consider them accolades. What are these markers?
Recognitions.
Recognitions. Yes, underscore the iconic structure's profound cultural and historical value for our nation. So this fire that engulfed the Manila Central Post Office way back in May of last year was not just a loss of a physical structure, it was a loss of our cultural heritage, in a way, a loss of our identity and a loss of tangible connection to our past. And as Filipinos, of course, we have mourned the destruction of the building and the intangible heritage it represents. So we are here today confronted with the urgent task of restoring and rehabilitating this historic landmark. Our responsibility extends beyond mere reconstruction. It entails a commitment to preserve and safeguard our cultural heritage for generations. So the destruction of our built heritage, whether by natural disasters or neglect or man-made issues, diminishes the very essence of our national identity. So as we embark on this restoration journey, let us engage in a meaningful dialogue. I'm here to learn and to listen from you that encompasses the perspectives of government agencies who are present here today, experts from academia, and other stakeholders. We will explore sustainable conservation strategies, including periodic maintenance, retrofitting of heritage structures like this to ensure their longevity and resilience against future threats. So we must affirm our commitment in protecting our built environment and preventing the irreparable loss of structures with historical and cultural significance. So I look forward to listening to you, learning from you, and I therefore ask our committee secretary to read into the record the presence of everyone. But before that, I would like to thank Senator Binay, who was here earlier and she will come. Oh, we have the PI hearing. Sabay. Yes, yes. Okay. And just take note that Senators Pia Cayetano, Nancy Binay, Sunny Angara, and Coco Pimentel, the four of them are members of this special committee created by the Senate. So thank you. COMSEC, please. And then we hear, of course, from the Manila Central Post Office and the Bureau of Fire Protection, and then the agencies of government. Thank you. Just so that it's clear, who owns the Central Post Office?
The building is owned by the Philippine Postal Corporation. The property
The
is
prop-
the property is under the name. The land is under the name of the Republic of the Philippine
Okay.
Islands.
So it's national government land, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Not LGU po.
Not
Okay, we'll get to that later. And the structure itself is under the post
Postal
office,
Corporation, yes.
which is a GOCC.
Yes, a government owned.
Very clear. But in this year's budget, do you have a GAA provision?
The post doesn't get a single centavo
No.
from the National Treasury, ma'am.
Okay, nothing.
What we get only is the reimbursement of a franking privilege that was given to the courts and to
Sure.
the offices.
Okay, we'll get to that later. Thank you. Comsec, dahil marami, pwede bang read into the record na lang lahat? O kailangan pang verbally sabihin isa-isa?
Yes, ma'am. We can put into the record.
Ganon, the presence of everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Eh, kaya lang yung stenographers mo. Kasi ang habi ang dami lahat, babasahin mo isa-isa yan. Gusto ko na diretso sa tanong. Pwede ba yon? Pwede.
Yes.
Yes. To expedite the process, right? Okay, thank you. We hear first an opening statement. What's PMG? General. Postmaster General. Okay, okay. Postmaster General Luis Carlos.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Kindly give us your opening statement and give us a soft copy of all opening statements today. Thank you.
If you will permit me, Madam Chair, I have a position paper that was submitted to read it, no, to the chairperson and to the committee members. The subject is supporting the restoration and rehabilitation of the Manila Central Post Office.
Submit, sorry, we did not receive a position paper.
We'll submit it, Madam.
No, you said you submitted it. May we know
Uh,
you submitted it?
We just got the invite yesterday, so I think.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So why is it just yesterday? Okay, you deal with a ComSec later. Why is it this was scheduled long ago? So, then please submit your position paper
Yes.
after you read it. Thank you.
Dear Chairperson, Madam, this is to respectfully submit to the Senate Committee on Culture and the Arts the official position paper of the Philippine Postal Corporation on the various resolutions in aid of legislation regarding the fire incident that engulfed the Manila Central Post Office building in Lawton, City of Manila at the night of the 21st of May 2023. The recent fire that ravaged is beloved landmark and significant cultural property. The Manila Central Post Office deeply resonated with Filipinos both locally and abroad. The position paper supports the Senate resolution urging the national government to extend its full support for the restoration and rehabilitation of the iconic building. The reasons for supporting the resolution is: one is the historical and cultural significance. The Manila Central Post Office, built in 1926, stands as a testament to the architectural beauty and historical significance of the American colonial era. It has witnessed crucial social political events throughout its existence, solidifying its position as a cherished symbol of national heritage. Second, its economic impact. Restoring the post office will contribute to the revitalization of Intramuros, a key tourist destination in Manila. This in turn will generate economic opportunities for local businesses and communities, boosting the tourism and cultural industry. Third, the educational value. The restored post office can serve as an educational and cultural hub, fostering appreciation for history and architecture among Filipinos and international visitors. Exhibits and interactive experiences can highlight the building's past and showcase the country's rich cultural heritage. Fourth, the symbol of resilience. As the Philippines continues to face various challenges, restoring the Manila Central Post Office will serve as a powerful symbol of resilience and national pride. It demonstrates the Filipino spirit of unity and the commitment to preserving the country's cultural identity. For considerations and recommendations, first, the transparency and accountability. The restoration process should be conducted transparently with clear accountability measures in place. Public participation and regular updates are crucial to ensure the responsible use of allocated funds and effective execution of the project. Second, the expertise in heritage conservation. The activation of the Interagency Task Force for Cultural Heritage, headed by the Department of Tourism, the City of Manila, together with cultural agencies, is vital. Engaging historical architects, conservation experts, and the cultural stakeholders in the restoration process is crucial. This ensures the preservation of the building's authenticity and historical integrity while incorporating modern safety and functional standards. Long-term sustainability, beyond restoration, a sustainable plan for ongoing maintenance and preservation is essential. This includes allocating sufficient resources and establishing dedicated management for the restored building. And last but not the least is the adaptive reuse. Exploring adaptive reuse options for the restored post office can enhance its functionality and attract diverse users. This could involve incorporating museum spaces, creative hubs, or community centers alongside modern postal services. The Philippine Postal Corporation reiterates its support to the Senate any act supporting the restoration of the Manila Central Post Office building, that the restoration of the Manila Central Post Office transcends mere reconstruction. It represents an investment in preserving national heritage, promoting cultural identity, and fostering economic development. Supporting the Senate resolution is an essential step towards realizing these goals and ensuring this iconic landmark continues to stand as a symbol of pride and resiliency for generations to come. Thank you.
I just want it very clear, you're a GOCC, the Postal Corporation, and you do not receive any remuneration, any budgetary insertion in the GAA.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. But you can receive, because how will you rehabilitate it if you're not provided a support,
Correct.
right? You can.
Yes, Chairman.
May I have the LBRMO in charge here, the Senate Budget Office, so that it's clear? If Director Irene is here, or whoever handles art and culture. Okay. In the past years, how long have you been the Postmaster General, sir?
I came in before the fire broke out.
Oh, you're very new. Okay. Who has the historical knowledge of the Central Post Office, if it has ever received any GAA provision?
I believe there's we just get since 2010, 2011, we got a subsidy or a reimbursement from the franking privileges that the 14 agencies of government, including the biggest will be the justice
Okay.
departments.
Okay. So very clear. The land, could you kindly, I did not see in your opening statement, but you can submit it, please. I want to know exactly,
The size.
give to the committee a copy of the title of the land. And we have to know your meets and bounds, mga mohon nyo po,
Opo.
kung saan. Second, the history, as you said, of all the GAA amendments, net GAB or GAA amendments since time immemorial, and its utilization.
Will do, Ms.
Okay. And the land is national government, the building is the GOCC. And just for historical knowledge and basis, the law and the IRR which created, did you mention this in your opening statement? Because this is, remember, the first hearing. So we don't assume we all know that, even if I've been here since 1998. Para maliwanag sa lahat, dahil bago ang special committee ito at nakikita natin ito'y magiging mahalagang bahagi ng inyong adaptive reuse at rehabilitation. Right? Okay. So we need that. The title, not the original, the meets and bounds, all survey and where the mohons are located. So there is no part of the property which is owned by any LGU. Okay, good. So it's just national government. Very clear. Now, we know that there's an interagency task force on cultural heritage that was created in 2023. I was probably there in the board meeting. Let me check if I was there. That created this interagency task force. Chair Ino is not here. Can we have someone from NCCA?
No.
Yeah, but
Ma'am, we have Patrick Lee from NCCA.
yeah, speak. Can you please speak? Okay.
Uh,
So because this interagency task force was created, can you give me the specific date? I don't recall creating this IATF because I chair the Senate committee, so I should have been there or at least have been part of its creation and its mandate, so that the interagency task force is aligned with the Senate special committee, and I could have included a budget already in 2024. Yeah. Okay. When was Cultural Properties Head Director Patrick? Yes. When was our board meeting?
Good morning, Madam Chair. The IATF-CH was created in February 2023.
Was I present? Can you check the minutes? Who attended? Was I present?
This one is for the post office.
I was there. It's been a year. And the IATF has not met? Not yet.
The task force was created primarily for NCCA and together with the cultural agencies to have direct arm to regulate or address heritage concerns.
Okay, is the interagency IATF the same as what PMG Carlos read into the record? It's the same.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Because you read into the record a interagency task force that was headed by the tourism department, while this is an interagency task force created by the NCCA board. Are we talking about one and the same thing?
I think yes, Madam Chair.
Okay. I'm just trying to see again your opening statement, because you said here, where is that portion? Can my staff help me? About the agency task force. Where is it? Can you just read into the record the portion when you read the task force? It's not in the letter. Yes. Just so that, here,
The expertise and heritage conservation, that's in page 2. The
okay.
activation of the
Okay, very clear.
interagency-
Thank you, sir, for pointing that out. So I just wanted to make sure that we are talking about one and the same. Because it says here, it's headed by the Department of Tourism and the City of Manila. But from what I read, it's created by the NCCA board. Medyo magulo, kasi there's a Senate with the City of Manila, we have the DOT, we have the NCCA, and then we have the Senate. So let me just, we will not sort that out now, but in the next NCCA meeting, and I'll talk to Chair Ino about this, and the cultural agencies, there must be cohesion so that hindi ang naming ulo magulo. Yes. Who's the implementing agency, who decides what to do? If the NCCA board created this interagency task force, then just like the Metropolitan Theater, is someone in charge here? Who was the lead? It's the NCCA. That's how it should be. Because who has the most competence in rehabilitating, retrofitting, and doing adaptive reuse, right? Like what you did with the Metropolitan Theater. So I think this interagency it's easy to change resolutions. Yes, Director Lee, you have anything to say?
Well, I think after the fire, when we first convened the task force, we invited, of course, the PFG and
See, you created, the task force was in February, but the fire was in May. How did it
Yeah,
happen?
if I can clarify,
Yes,
Senator.
I'm confused.
So we started with our core group, which is the task force created before.
Before the fire, I see.
Yes, and then after the fire, that core group convened, but case specific, of course, we invited PhilPost, City of Manila, and DOT to join. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
clear. Because that's why I was confused, because the
Mm.
task force was created before the fire, as if you anticipated the fire.
Yeah, kasi the
Right.
core group was NCCA, NHCP, and National Museum is the core group.
Okay.
But because of this case, we invited the concerned parties.
Yes.
Yeah.
We will, it's good that there's interest. The fact that you created a task force, it makes it easier for me as chair of the Senate Committee on Culture and the Arts. Meron na. But we will just see, NCCA, please give me, after this, we don't have to discuss it here, a copy of the resolution creating the task force and the mandate and whatever budgetary, because you have the task force, but you did not give me a amendment for me to put in 2024, just like National Museum does, just like everybody who asks for projects. If there was a task force created in February 2023 and the fire occurred in May, you had all the time to submit to me. At least for architectural study, for adaptive reuse, rehabilitation, but nothing came on my desk or any other senator, at least to my mind, in my recollection. Did you give us such a request, NCCA? Or the IATF? How come it sounds like COVID eh? IATF kasi. Ibahin ko tong pangalan na ito. Interagency, di ba IATF was, yeah, it sounds like a COVID time. Sige. Did you send me anything?
no, Madam Chair, because
Hindi nga pwede yan eh.
the primary
Oh.
concern of the task force is only for discussion and decision making.
You
But
know, hindi pwede sa akin po discussion. You will, this is, you'll be paralyzed if it's all discussion. You know me, I always want action to done. I want it done because, okay, I'll find a way. I'll find a way. So my question is, number one, there's an interagency task force. I will review the mandate, the budgetary allocations, the members, etc., and the lead agencies. And please show me the interagency task force or the solo, whatever memo that created the Metropolitan Theater rehabilitation as well. Then we will compare. And we will have a pre-board meeting. That's why Ino's supposed to be here. Very important sana. A pre-board meeting in the Senate so that we can see and align the Metropolitan Theater rehab and this IATF. Can we change the name? IATF. It might be confused with the IATF of COVID. Eh. So find the name. Okay, kayong mga cultural agencies, you're more creative. Okay? Yeah. So, basta find the name. Sige. So, we have to compare that. Yeah. So the IATF for meantime, CF, what's a CF? Cultural,
CH,
ano
Madam.
ba kayo? Yeah. The NCCA, National Museum, NHCP, and the archives. That's all the same because all these National NM, NHCP are all under NCCA. So it's NCCA. Okay. So DOT and PhilPost are temporary members of a task force. Fine. Of course, you have to be there because you're the victims, right? You're the victims and you will be helped and you are the beneficiaries
Yes.
of the assistance, right? Okay. Before we proceed to the rehabilitation, Chief, Bureau of Fire Protection, sir, Director Louis Puracan, and welcome to the Senate, BFP. Yes. You have an opening statement or maybe just a direct answer. Was it fire due to although this was already discussed in the aftermath of the fire, was it kuryente, electrical? Sinadya ba ito? Neglect ba ito? Ano po talaga ang dahilan? Sinadya dahil bulok na sila, dahil gusto nilang paggawa ng maganda? Hindi sila, sila kung sino man. Ano ba sa inyong investigasyon? At ano ang dahilan? And how can we prevent such from happening in other heritage sites, in other old buildings which we're trying to restore?
Ma'am, good morning.
Good morning.
Ma'am, may we be allowed to present a 3-minute video on what transpired on the night of 21 March? Yes, ma'am.
If we're bored, we'll just say submit it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
The Manila Post Office, also known as the Manila Central Post Office, is a historic building located in the heart of Manila, the capital city of the Philippines. The building was initially designed to house various government offices, including the Bureau of Posts, the Savings Bank, the Postal Saving Bank, and the Philatelic Division. Today, it primarily serves as the central office of PHL Post, overseeing postal operations and services across the country. The Manila Post Office stands as a significant landmark in Manila's architectural and cultural landscape. Its rich history, stunning architecture, and role as the central hub for Philippine postal services make it a notable attraction for locals and visitors alike. The Manila Post Office has a gross floor area of 25,000 square meters and stands more than 19 meters in height. The building is primarily made of concrete for column, beam, girder, floor slab, stairs, and external walls. However, the second floor, constructed of steel beams and wooden floorings, has been undermined due to its type of construction for the internal partition and its post-fire condition. The estimated damage to the property based on the BFP Operational Procedures Manual amounted to 300 million pesos. Before full development of flame, during the incipient stage, explosion transpired from a competent ignition which was from the stored car battery. The car battery was close to flammable and highly combustible materials such as paints and thinners. These accelerants caused the rapid fire growth. Spread of fire reaching the bulk storage of materials within the area of fire origin until it fully developed and soon spread around. Through forensic examination, fire pattern analysis, arc fault mapping, witness testimonies, and 3D laser scanning, the area of fire origin was established to be at the storage area, more specifically at the Mega Manila storage room. The most damaged areas of the Manila Post Office are near or in any way connected to the basement, particularly the southern part of the building. The point of fire origin was identified to be at the location where office supplies, thinners, and paint cans were piled in close proximity to the car batteries in the storage room. After review of relevant documents and conductive witness interviews to elicit initial supplementary information, the following antecedent facts and subsequent details of the firefighting operations are established. Witness 1 was inside the Maintenance and Miscellaneous Division, MMD, watching on his cell phone when he heard something dropped. He went closer to the area where he heard the sound and saw that a wall had dropped off. He subsequently saw smoke coming out from the back of MMD, so he went out and turned off the main power supply. Witness 2 was at the dispatching area when he heard some sort of explosion inside the supply office. He went around room 19 and he confirmed that the smoke and flame are really coming from the supply office. A total of about 66 fire trucks, 26 from BFP and 40 from the fire volunteers, responded to the said fire incident. No fatality was recorded, but 18 individuals sustained injuries from the conflagration as well as the conduct of firefighting operations. The investigative team for Manila Central Post Office fire case, headed by Superintendent Bayani D. Zambrano, was tasked with conducting an investigation to determine the area of fire origin, fire spread in its initial stage, as well as document the scene of the incident. Upon initial walkthrough, pieces of evidence, i.e. ashes and debris, found in the basement area, were identified, marked, collected and subsequently submitted to the Fire Laboratory Service to conduct forensic analysis. Follow-up investigations were conducted in the next few days where the investigation team continued their scientific and methodical fire scene analysis. The technical support group were also present to carry out a fire safety evaluation of the burned structure. In addition to the ashes and debris gathered, burned electrical wires were also collected to be subjected for electrical analysis, as well as conducting a 3D laser scan of the entire structure of the Manila Central Post Office to help investigators understand the progress of fire from its initial stage.
The presence of the NCCA Chair, Ino Manalo. I note that the architectural and engineering plans will be done this year, and there's a funding allocation from TIEZA. But of course, a rehabilitation will have to come in 2025, and I am willing to help out in doing that. I think there should be a meeting after this hearing between the Central Post Office Corp and the NCCA with the NM and HEP, so that the utilization of the edifice can be clarified. And I need to know how much funds will be needed, but that can only be ascertained after the engineering and architectural plans have been made. But who is doing, maybe we hear from Chair Ino Manalo. And before you arrive, Chair Ino, I said that I wanted to see the task force resolution that we approved a year ago, but that was before the fire. So we may have to revise the resolution creating the task force because this is post May 2023. So, yeah, please proceed, Chair Ino. You have something to say regarding the creation of a task force, which was before the fire erupted or happened in May. The video will be submitted as well to the committee, PMG.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Senator. Like a month or so after the fire, the National Commission on Culture and the Arts brought together a task force on the rehabilitation of the post office, and in that task force was Postmaster General Carlos, eventually Secretary Frasco, and members of the cultural agencies of the Philippines, no, namely the NCCA, the National Museum, National Archives, and the National Historical Commission. Just very quickly, I want to explain the National Archives was brought in because of the records that were burned. Now, we've had about 7 meetings. The last one was in January. 6 meetings, I mean. Last one is in January. And during that time, it was established that first we did initial shoring up and remedial measures, and then eventually we started discussing rehabilitation measures. And what was done was that, by the way, the task force was created in February 2023. It was agreed then that we would first do a detailed engineering study to be funded by TIEZA, and this has already been so far. The latest is that it's been bidded. This has been bidded out, and there is already a contractor that has won the contract, and they're starting. No, they've already started the rehabilitation. But you had an initial fund also for shoring up and things like that, no?
Yes, from the insurance company.
Yes, you
Clarify that the architectural and engineering study is being done by a architectural group. There was a bidding and who
Yes.
is that architectural group? Be very careful because this is a heritage structure. We can't just have any architectural group doing highways and any ordinary building. Do they have the competence? It should have been the cultural agencies bidding it out. Perhaps somebody who did, let's say, the National Museum restoration or the edifices of the National Historical Commission.
Since Tiesa was the funder, they were the ones who it was decided it was easier to. Yeah, but we helped them with the terms of reference, diba? We worked on the
Yes, NHCP, ma'am,
prepare the terms of reference.
took the lead in the terms of reference for the contract.
So we've been working with them in coming up with a contractor, and they have now come up with a contractor. And as far as I know, they do have heritage professionals working with them.
This is just 15M for the study.
Yes,
Have they, 1.5, have they started? Not yet.
they've started now.
What have they started to do?
They've started structural tests, including part of the studies that was part of the terms of reference.
Okay, could you kindly submit to the committee, what is the name of the company? What heritage structures have they done in Metro Manila and in the provinces? Photos and actual reports of adaptive reuse. I'm not to name any supplier or contractor, but I just want to make sure that what Tiesa selected should be competent enough to do something as iconic as this landmark structure. Yes.
Ma'am, if I may assure you, the work that's been bidded out is for study. These are not designs for moving forward.
They will not do it.
This is
There-
to give us info as to the structural state of the
It will
building.
stop at that. It does not mean that
Structural
their
integrity.
study
Yeah.
for engineering and architecture will be done by them.
That's my understanding, ma'am. Purely professional services for us to see the condition of the building.
Okay.
Yeah. There-
What I will suggest is this. Proceed because you have the funds. And could the NCCA, NHEP, NM have a list of who you usually use? The top three most competent, experienced, who really can go back to how it looked before. Let's see. Then in 2025, we will have that validation because you don't have the funds to rehabilitate it this year. You'll have your own bidding. I will not intervene, but you limit it, of course, to those who are usually doing that. Like, for example, the natural history. I don't know who did that. Let's say the fine arts and archaeology, anthropology buildings. Let's say the heritage structures of NHCP. I don't know who does that. Metropolitan, for example, if you're happy with how it was done. So we validate what this Tiesa supplier is doing because, Tiesa, I'm not sure how many heritage structures they've actually done. It's very broad when you say it's tourism. Yeah, it could be hotels or pensions or we have to be very careful here.
Ma'am, we'll submit the list to you, but again, we assure you that this is still a structural, there's
Sure.
structural review if the building has been weakened or
Yes.
to check the structural integrity.
Okay, so it's really not aesthetics yet. It's just a review structural. Okay, we see. We'll stop at that, and perhaps we can have a separate meeting with Tiesa, and they can bring.
Yeah, there's a representative of GSIS here.
Oh.
Engineer.
Okay, maybe you can sit here, but this is really for a meeting later on because I want to see the broad picture first. So, where are we thus far with regards to assessing the structural integrity of the landmark, of the structure? That's what I want to know from Tiesa. But as I said, that's going into the details. I want to have the broad picture first.
Ma'am, if I may, this is the first part of the work, as I understand it. The second part, of course, moving forward, will depend on what the agreement on the new uses of the building will be. And for that, we've been awaiting, for instance, this first hearing, so that the group can get direction. Yeah, but in the meantime, we've been doing what needs to be done to still assessing the state condition of the building and the basic work that would be needed to rehab it structurally.
What I'm reading now, yeah, I may not need you, engineer, but just sit there. But so you're only doing, Tiaza's only doing the structural integrity.
Yes.
Yes. Where are you thus far in utilizing the 15M funds and in assessing the structural integrity of the place? Engineer Gregory Olor.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning po. Right now po, ma'am, they have done already the scanning, laser scanning of the building to assess the structural integrity, and then they're doing some coring and geo something for that. They will be taking up some samples to assess the structural integrity po.
They'll just kindly submit to the office.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me just read this. So what you're doing is a DAES, detailed agricultural, architectural engineering study.
studies.
That's 15M. Okay. And who is to decide for the utilization of the post office building? It will have to be between the GOCC and the NCCA, correct? And in my understanding, Chair Ino, perhaps you can put into the record the output of your meetings.
So far, as I said, we will be, as was already mentioned, we're really waiting for the DAES results, no, so that we can make a final go of the eventual final use of the building. But so far, what we've established is that most likely it will be a mixed use art center, but there will definitely be a facility for the Manila Post Office so that it retains its identity as the building of the post office. That's very important to the
They own it. Are you amenable, and did you allow the arts and culture agencies for a mixed use facility? Nag-usap na ba ho kayo so that a portion, and which portion will go to the utilization of the post office and the others will be mixed use only for arts and culture heritage?
Yes, Madam Chair. We've talked about it, and initially we're agreeing to that one, as long as we're going to be bringing in the historical value or the restoration of the whole building. So the Manila Central Post Office itself cannot move. It has to be there initially, and then we've talked about the museums as a cultural circuit that we can make use, and we'll develop the area, including to jumpstart the tourism area in that property. So
I'm happy to hear that, PMG.
yes,
Postmaster General Haba kasi. Yes, I'm happy to hear that you are amenable to the utilization, not just wholly as a post office. Will you lease the property to them? So kayo na mag-usap.
have
Okay.
final
So you
details on
discuss
that.
that, but it's a concept. So in short, what we're establishing in this first hearing is the cause of the fire, who owns the land and the property, who will, moving forward, fund it, initial for the study, the DAES, and second for the actual rehabilitation. But what is certain is that it will be used after the structure has been retrofitted, rehabilitated to the best effort it can, akin to how it was built in the beginning, right? So there is no demolition. There is no use for other purposes than arts, culture, heritage, for the enrichment of the nation's soul and for the appreciation of our Filipino identity as a nation and as a people. That's very clear. The request of the post office is not to displace them, but to use a part of it. Of course, you're the owner, but the entry of the NCCA and the expertise of the cultural agencies, especially National Museum, National Historical Commission, and the archives, among others, will improve its use and will make it a destination, not just for domestic tourists, but foreign tourists as well. So let's just make it very clear that there is no sale to the private sector because it's both an IHL and an ICP. There is no privatization. There is no demolition. Malinis, maayos po tayo, nakakaintindihan.
Malinaw na po yun.
Okay, yes.
And there's also been discussion about embedding the post office in a larger arts district, no? Which is hopefully will encompass the riverbanks area, but also going all the way perhaps to the Metropolitan Theater to
Beyond the building.
there was a proposal or a suggestion, no, that when we develop the post office, that it will be developed with the idea that it will be embedded in a larger arts district in that area, which could mean connections to the National Museum, to the Met Museum, so that it will be a cultural hub, no, the whole area. That was one of the discussions. But
May I can the committee please be furnished with a copy of all the minutes of the meetings of the, I call it again, IATF, parang COVID nga, ibahin natin yung pangalan. Mag-isip na kayo. IATF kasi 3 years yan nakaka-trauma, di ba? So, Interagency Task Force, but that's what it is. So, ito. Cultural,
POTF na lang, Post Office Task Force.
okay. Cultural Task Force. Payag kayo? Kayo may Cultural Task
so
Force.
the Post Office Cultural Task Force,
Okay.
POCTF.
O sige, kayo na yon. Basta hindi IATF. Sige. So, proceed, Chair Ino. What were you saying?
So that's what I just wanted to add, and I wanted to
Okay.
confirm that that was the first thing that we established, that that the building was not going to be demolished.
Very
It was
clear.
going to be restored.
Mhm.
And they have already entertained and reviewed, right, Postmaster? They have reviewed offers to purchase the building, but they turned it down.
Huh? Purchase to demolish? Huh? No way.
ma'am.
Huh?
It-
Hindi
just
naman.
As a way to, supposedly as a way to assist them, that they could only be
Be
funded.
careful assist kunyari tapos pag sila na may-ari, de-demolish nila or gagawin nilang ibang itsura, hindi pwedeng ganun.
Well, we will not
No.
allow any demolition.
So
of the
that
post
won't
office.
happen
Yeah,
anymore.
that-
You assure me.
Yes, Madam Chair, I assure you.
Okay. Thank you.
Ma'am, it's just one issue I think that needs resolution is even though the PhilPost and the cultural agencies are on the same page, it's quite difficult to move forward because any conversion to arts and culture would not be profit generating for PhilPost. And of course, as a GOCC, that's their mandate. So I think our group is awaiting for some higher direction, either through the executive or through the legislature, that would help PhilPost make those corporate decisions to give a large chunk of their asset over to a nonprofit purpose or even a loss. I think that's something that's of concern to PhilPost being a GOCC.
Perhaps the PMG could write the Senate committee into give me the fine print and a broader picture and a clear understanding of what Director Barnes is saying, that you're cash strapped and you need help.
Yeah.
And but the issue of privatization somehow scares me. No. No. Because once, you give a hand, they might want the body.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
As of now, no. Okay?
Because you were quite clear when you said only arts, culture, heritage. But it's still an open question, this idea, the old idea of converting it into a hotel, semi-commercializing the space. So if
We
that's
see.
off the table, we need direction. I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Since this is the first hearing, okay, let's make it very clear. The IATF was created before the fire. Kindly give me the minutes of your meetings. The fire happened, I'm sorry? No, they created it, you created it, we created it, and the board,
Yeah,
I am told I was there
yeah.
before the fire.
Yes, I'm sorry.
So I need the minutes of the meeting so that I can recall what transpired. And then after the fire, it changes the whole picture.
Yeah.
Yes. So just make it very clear. This belongs to the Filipino people. I know you are a GOCC, you may need assistance. We're here for the long haul and we will help you. But, well, I'm one of 24, but my position is I would like it to be shared for the future generations and not by the private sector who we may not be able to control and make it a tall edifice. No. That's me, but I'm just one speck in the universe because this belongs to the Filipino people.
I fully agree with you, Madam Chair. It's
Gusto
beyond,
kita. Ngayon
it's
na kita
beyond,
nakilala, okay siya. Agree ng agree.
it's beyond the commerce of man, Madam.
Yes.
I don't think it should be privatized or
Yes,
to be
mag-iisang
sold to
daang taon na
anybody.
ito.
Opo.
Bakit naman? Ang dami naman lupa sa buong Pilipinas, wag. Sa may ilog Pasig ito, sa taong bayan ito. Wag na. At saka kung ilang mang milyon o daang milyon ang kailangan nyo, tutulong ang national government, taxpayers' money, sa malinis at masinop na paraan, zero corruption, at isinaalang-alang ang kultura at ang tamang pag-akma ng rehabilitasyon at hindi earning profit. Yes, that's all part of life, but let not greed and profit overwhelm us with such our iconic landmarks which are both IHL and ICP. Wag, not this. Otherwise, you dissolve my committee, right? That's why the committee was created, is to assist the historical landmark and to make it the center of Manila or Metro Manila or the nation's art, culture, and heritage for everyone to see, including the masses. Yes, those who not have cars by foot who traverse the Pasig, right? Malulugi kayo, hindi kayo malulugi. Basta pag-usapan natin yan kung paano tutulungan namin kayo. Oo. Okay? Yeah. Okay, Jeremy. Anyway,
No,
simula pa lang
That's
naman to.
well taken, ma'am.
I hope,
we've been
hope the cultural agencies agree with me. I don't like to see malls and high-rise hotels here. No.
Yeah, we agree with you completely.
Oh, very good. Thank you for that assurance. Yeah. We have too many malls and high-rise hotels. Tama na. Diba? Si Pia at saka si Nancy, sigurado akong agree sila. O tapusin muna natin. So, sino ang gusto magsalita? Kasi this is just an opening. Then we create a technical working group. I will review, as I said, all the minutes of the meeting from the time the cultural task force for the rehabilitation of the post office. Yun na lang pangalan. Cultural task force for the rehabilitation of the post office. Yan. With NCCA as the lead. Who owned the Metropolitan Theater?
Bought by GSIS, and then eventually it was purchased from the GSIS by the NCCA. Not bought pala. It was
yeah. I think, yes, 2013, 15, 14. Yes, yes.
Noon ko yun dahil nga, okay, just for the record, magulo nun, may nag-aaway-away, di ba, kung kanino, anong gagawin, natatakot na demolish. So, I think it was my first few years as vice chair or chair. Yeah, I provided the funds for that. So, ibig ko lang sabihin, kaya. Kasi noon, marami na nag-i-interest.
Yes.
At natatakot tayo, baka yung pag-rehabilitate, nandun pa yung structure, pero puro makikintab na naman na magiging matitingkad na kulay. Alam naman yung mga hilig ng iba na hindi akma sa tama. So, I recall, Irene was there. It was Attorney Tablon. I provided the funds for the acquisition from GSIS of the NCCA. Because NCCA, more or less, you can't go wrong. Nandiyan nakabantay lahat ng culture agencies. Although minsan, yung mga gumagawa rin sa inyo, hindi rin tama yung adaptive reuse. Kaya nga dapat masino pa mata. At saka alam ko nagka-problema din kayo sa rehabilitation, sa mga gumawa, sa arkitekto. I mean, it's not perfect, right? Kanya-kanyang taste sa buhay. I'm not saying I'm always correct. That's why we need the experts. Ayan, Senator Binay, thank you. And I know you arrived early. I'm sure you agree with me. Opening statement ka. We welcome Senator Nancy Binay. Yes, Senator Binay, please join me always because there's a architectural and engineering study of TIEZA, but the lead I want for the rehabilitation of the post office would be the NCCA, right? And the GOCC, Central Post Office, is so kind as to allow the NCCA to help them in the rehabilitation. And we agreed, and I made my position clear, which I said, where's Senator Binay, where's Senator Pia Cayetano? I'm sure they'll agree that it will not be privatized. It will not be for massive commercial use. I mean, it will be an arts, culture, and heritage center or hub. Yun ang pinag-usapan kasi natin. That's what I conveyed. Am I accurate, Madir?
Yes.
Right. I am certain you and Senator Pia, the vice chairs of the committee, do not like to see a mall or a high-rise building, right? We have too many of that in your Makati, right? Okay, sige. So let's retain it the way it is, but adaptive reuse. Thank you. But you speak so that it's your voice, not me. Okay, dear. So we
I agree
recognize
with,
Senator Binay.
Madam Chair.
No, you just
Marami pa tayong resource person.
hindi ko na sila
So, Madam Chair, can I ask a question?
You can ask, it's your turn na, pagod na ako.
Okay, hindi kasi like, di ba, the property is insured. Tama po ba? So, if ever, magkano ho yung pwedeng makuha sa GSIS?
Ayun.
Morning, Madam Chair. I'll let the manager of the claims insurance to answer that.
Good morning po, Madam Chair, Senator. Right now po, we had initially posted a loss reserve in the amount of 460 million. Then after a series of evaluation and documents that they submitted to us, we had decided na meron nga pong attachment sa policy liability namin. That's why, as an act of goodwill to our assured, we extended an interim payment in the amount of 100 million last July 30, 2023. So right now, ma'am, pending pa rin po yung claim because subject to the submission of their evaluation report on the structural integrity as well as the estimated repair of their Annex 1 building. So more or less, ma'am, right now, our current loss reserve is at around 315, less the 100 million that we paid in advance. So around mga 200 plus million po. Yung payout po, tentative, subject to, of course, the final evaluation report that they're going to submit to us. So mayroon pang adjustments po yun.
So, Madam Chair, yung remaining 200 million, pwedeng magamit for the reconstruction of the post office. Tama po ba? I mean, for whatever use.
Yes, Senator. Yes,
Okay. So,
it can
at
be
least,
used.
Madam Chair, meron na tayo, kasi alam naman natin na funding is always a problem, but it's good to hear na merong 200 million as a starting fund for the post office.
Yes, we've received that 100 million last July of 2023, and it can be used to part of it to be rehabilitated. Right now, I'm housing about 700 people in that building, and we're now in we're res- restoring a Annex 2 building. It's a smaller building that we can, right now, we're holding office in a COVID facility in the Central Mail Exchange in the airport. So
Question, saan po yung annex building na iniisip niyong
it's within the compound.
Oh,
It's
baka,
a-
baka Madam Chair, medyo hold niyo muna yung idea of putting up an annex building. Kasi baka the whole complex would be transformed to something else, di ba?
Yes, ma'am. The building's been there.
Ito magiging available itong
Ando doon na po yung building. We're just rehabilitating it para we can fit the whole corporate office can fit there for the meantime.
Ano siya? Is yung annex building, is it an old building or?
Yes, it's an old building.
Old building.
Yes,
eh. Part of the original?
mga 30-year-old, somewhere there, 30-year-old. It's an old building so that we can just transfer as a corporate office for the meantime, because in that building, we were housing about 700 employees, including the whole corporate office po. So right now, we're holding our offices near the airport, in the airport, and we're rehabilitating that small building.
Siguro maganda din nga tingnan, Madam Chair, kung yung annex ba magiging bahagi nung if ever panibagong gamit dun sa post
Yeah.
office.
In fact, it's a compound, no? It's a compound, and it's a larger area, not just the post office building.
Nakikita nyo na may possibility na magamit itong annex as part of the old post office.
We haven't discussed it fully, but that is part of the idea. That's part of the idea that there's a larger complex that can be utilized. I just add that from the get-go, that was what Postmaster was very concerned about, was the well-being of the employees, no? So he immediately took steps to house them in this temporary building. And I think when we assure the public with regard to the use of the building, we also want to sound the note that we are very concerned with the people, with the employees of the post office and their well-being.
Madam Chair. Madam Chair. Question. I think parang offhand, mukhang hindi na siya magiging post office. Ulit, di ba?
So a small portion will still be. I mean,
But
a certain portion.
the burnt building, mukhang hindi na naiisip pang gawing post office yung gamit niya.
Well,
Tama po ba?
What we gathered from our meetings of the committee was that the post office would really want to have a presence still in the main in the old building, in the burned, because it's a question of identity, that's the post office. But so I'm sure that it can be worked out naman.
But at the end of the day, the 700 personnel would no longer go back dun sa
Yeah.
Not
old
everyone,
building.
Senator. Not everyone. The Manila Central Post Office, the post office itself has to be there. Because I cannot just, that's the identity of the Manila Central. I just cannot just transfer them.
But pero kailangan, may madi-displace pa rin ho kayong mga empleyado. So, kakailanganin nyo pa rin magkaroon ng panibagong building, whether within the complex. Kasi nga hindi na magagamit yung main building as part of your function as a
Yeah.
post office.
Our understanding is that they have Postmaster, you have the properties other than this, no?
Yes, we have the corporation has other properties also as to be part of the corporate office that we can build onto. We have a property in Quezon City. We have a property in the airport area, which is the Central Mail Exchange, where all the mails outside of the country and domestically passes. No? So as of the moment lang po, ma'am, the output of the people, since we're in a COVID facility right now, no, where I have to really come up with an office space for almost a year already. We're still there. And a lot of people have promised already spaces for the government, for the employees. But as of the moment, we don't have one. So we decided to build the Annex 2 building.
And dun yung ginamit yung, I would assume you use the 100 million.
Yes, we will. Part of that we'll be using already for that one. Para lang yung operations po ng post office, will still move on. No?
Actually, they're building na an annex office or restoring lang. And you're storing it dun sa, I would assume na bagay pa rin siya dun sa lumang building.
It's gonna be look like a neoclassical building also, just like the
Arkitekto na gumagawa. Is it a new building beside the burned
it's an old building, ma'am. It's a
that's being restored?
we're just restoring it just
The
for
way
our
it
corporate
looks
office.
now.
Yes, the way it looks right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
We can have a part two, an ocular of the place, right?
yes,
After they submitted to us the property titles, the mohon, the survey, we can go with the NCCA to see just.
Actually, Madam Chair, we were there, kailan ba yun? During dun sa Esplanade, yung Pasig River Esplanade. So
Yes.
parang, I think at this point, mukhang in agreement naman tayo na the old building should be used for something else and not as part of the...
Arts and
Post
Culture
office,
and
diba?
Heritage
So
Center.
parang more or less, alam natin yung direction kung saan
Yes.
tayo
Yes.
pupunta.
Mm-mm. Okay, so for the meantime, the submissions I mentioned already that need to come from the post office and from NCCA, I asked Senator Binay for all the minutes of the meeting of the interagency task force since it was created in February before the fire, and all the meetings as well after May 2023. So bale 1 year of minutes of the meetings of the NCCA interagency task force. And then the plans and survey and title, etc. of the area. Then we proceed to an ocular inspection.
Madam
Yes.
Chair, who owns the property? Post
It's
office?
national government, Republic of the
Ah,
Philippines, and then the GOCC owns the structure. And
oh.
then TIEZA provided 15M for the detailed engineering and architectural
Maybe you
studies.
can also consult yung, I don't know, kung DOJ or OSG,
Mm-mm.
if yung how to transfer, or is there a need to do a transfer, or MOA ba, or
Yes, correct.
yung
Uh,
yung legal
sure. The
requirements.
GOCC of the PhilPost, the post office and NCCA should it be a MOA because we will be infusing GAA funds for the rehabilitation. They can't do it by themselves, right? Okay. Although, let me just see. And the insurance you'll get of 370M will be used for the building that will house your employees, right? It's not for the rehabilitation after the fire, or is it?
a part of that can be used also for the rehabilitation of the old building.
Why is it here in my report from the Senate LB Remo that there's an estimated rehabilitation cost of 1.450 billion? Did this come from you? Sa kanila nanggaling? It was submitted? Yes. It was used in a Senate deliberation and the figures came from you. Why is there already a rehabilitation cost of
Oh.
1.45?
No, we were asked for a ballpark figure.
A
on that.
ballpark lang yan. Oo.
The study of
Depende sa
TIEZA.
kanila.
Depende po doon sa
Correct.
study na po.
Okay.
And I think Postmaster, that's a figure based on if you were to restore it to the way it used to be.
Yes.
No.
Okay. Very clear. So we will halt there based on the inputs unless I would be happy to hear. So we heard the GSIS. Thank you, Senator Binay. We heard the fire had a presentation, post office, the cultural agencies. What do you have to say? We're all aligned anyway. And I said earlier, but we will review the mandate of the task force because it was done before the fire, right? And then it was the resolution we adopted a year ago was before the fire. Let's review it if in the next board meeting of NCCA, if at all, it has to be tweaked a little because it's post-fire. Yeah, with your agreement, of course. Okay. So we will leave it at that. I would request Senator Binay to give more inputs, if any. Yes, or any of our guests who have not spoken. But if you prepared opening statements, comments, please submit it to the committee. And I would be willing to listen if there are other views. If you believe the committee is wrong, I can be told I am wrong. If there's any other view for the rehabilitation of the post office. Nobody wants, yes. Chief,
Maybe made manifestation, ma'am, that we will be included in the Manila Post Office Task Force as the fire protection is an integral part of the rehabilitation program. Na sana masama kami, ma'am, sa task force ng Manila Post Office because the fire protection is an integral part of the rehabilitation program. Yes, ma'am.
not just for the post office, for every edifice, fire protection, of course. We're putting in money. The lives of the people are at stake. This is the post office. Kailangan talaga fireproof, earthquake proof, fireproof. Okay. Sino pa po?
Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Yes.
I'm speaking on behalf of the civil society organization. So, yeah, as part na lang din of the Filipino people and the youth, I am Bea Dolores from Renacimiento, Manila. And
Dila, please tell us about your civil society org. It's
yes,
the first time I've seen you, I think, unless
yeah.
you've been in around. What is Renacimiento, Miss Bea?
Yes, Renacimiento Manila is a heritage organization, and for the urban renewal of the city of Manila, we're really focused on the city of Manila itself because of its already hundreds and diverse heritage structures. Kumbaga, it as a capital city deserves a focus itself, and we're really into celebrating it. And actually, for the past 3 years, we have already conducted a bunch of heritage walks wherein we bring people to the different sites around the city of Manila to showcase what its stories and the rest of what it can be. Given that maraming sayang, nakikita yung actual na situations on the ground. So we've invited, and there have already been about 1,000s of participants already in our heritage walks. And kasama po yung post office sa mga napasok na namin. We're the lucky organization na nakadalas na sa loob ng post office building. We're in together with our participants as well. And so, us bilang mga kabataan, bilang mga members of the community, we have already seen and already interacted as well with the staff of the post office, wherein we saw as well what we can see as a potential of the post office, given that we've entered it. Unfortunately nga po, before pa man nagkaroon ng pagkasunog sa post office. Actually, like, I think a week after the unfortunate burning of the post office, we were scheduled to visit again and have a heritage walk in the post office, but it did not happen.
Ko, yung inyong NGO po, yung Renacimiento, kayo'y gumagawa ng mga heritage walks sa
Yes
Manila?
po, and we have successfully invited over about 1,000 participants already over the course of 3 years.
Give us a schedule of your heritage walks and what parts of Manila, because I took heritage walks many years ago in Binondo. I did it in Intramuros long
Yeah.
ago with the late Celdran in Intramuros. And who was the Phil Chinese Ivan Uy? Ivan Mandi. Who's Ivan? Ivan Uy pala, DICT. Basta si Ivan Mandi. My son and I did a Binondo tour maybe 10 years ago. Then I did Carlos, was it Celdran? wrong names again, maybe 20 years ago. Yes, yes. So kayo, it's good,
Yes,
it's good.
thank
We
you.
should, I'm glad you appreciate that. Now, Bea, sang-ayon ka ba sa mungkahi ko na wag i-privatize at ito'y dapat gobyerno para ang taong bayan ang makikinabang?
Yes po, and together with, given na it is post office, at tsaka dahil sa napasok namin siya, sobrang specific and ang gaganda po ng mga functions that deserves to be celebrated.
At saka
Um,
actually, oh yes, continue.
Ano po, it could be best to be preserved as a postal museum, which showcases
maganda may
our
museo, tama.
communications, kumbaga the
Oo.
development of communications over the history of over the course of history.
Sure.
Kasi po, post office nung panahon na wala pa tayong cellphone, ngayon
Maganda
tayo
yun. Maganda yung
nag-chat
idea niya.
na. Ayun po.
Maganda yung nagtumayo lang ako kasi maganda yung mungkahi niya na to retain, as you said, a part of it as post office, then to have a post office gallery museum, and then mixed use for arts, culture, and heritage. That will be self-generating.
Oh.
And NCCA will take care of that. And we can have the civil society. I mean, kasi okay, hindi naman pinag-uusapan na hindi pa privatize. Kasi kung privatize, magiging very exclusive at para sa may kaya lang pumasok kung mga edifices na ng mga naka-aircon. Paano naman yung, diba? We want it open to the Filipino people.
Ma'am.
Yeah, that's my view. I'm not imposing it. I'm imposing it, yes. But if I'm overruled, what can I do? Diba? Yes, Chair Ino.
Yes, ma'am. In fact, the post office museum was really an integral part of
Very
the
good.
plans. But the idea was that it would only be part of the, not to
Only a
use the
part.
entire building. for that.
Yes. I always hear only a part. Buti pumayag sila. Kasi makaka-enhance naman yung idea nyo na arts, culture, and heritage. Eh. Oo.
Yeah.
Tapos maganda may gallery, may museum dyan. Maganda rin na tour. Gumawa kayo yung, I would like to be toured sa post office, yung mula sa unang stop, sa bawat, like a post office walking tour. Kasi yung mga sulat, bago yung mga Viber at emails at lahat na ng platforms ngayon, the digital platform, paano yun dati? Maganda nga may walking tour. Pagpunta siguro namin ni Senator Binay, ito, mula sa pagsulat sa sulat papel, may stamp. Dati pa ang panahon ko yun, stamp. Huhulog mo sa mailbox. Paano siya pupunta? Ganun. Magandang ganun. A short 15-minute tour? Yeah, kung paano. I'd like to be in fact, gumawa kayo ng animation or actual kung kaya nyo na pang TikTok. Hindi, ibig sabihin, maikli lang. Para yung mga kabataan ngayon na hindi naranasan ang pagsulat at paglagay sa envelope, pagbili ng stamp at pag-mailbox, paglagay sa mailbox ng sulat na may postman na pipick up at dadalin kung saan, merong ganun. Okay? I mean, I'd like to see that again, right? Naabutan mo yung panahon yun? Bata ka, di ba? Anyway. So, sino pang gusto mag-set? Salamat, Bea, Dolores. Yeah. Okay na. So, lahat tayo sang-ayon kasi I'm giving you a chance to speak, ha? Baka meron siyang magsasalita pagkatapos ng hearing. Gusto namin mall, gusto namin 5-star hotel, gusto namin tibagin yan at gumawa ng bagong ganito. Lahat tayo dito nagkakasundo, ha? Magano na kayo kung hindi naman kayo papagalitan ni Senator Binay. Kung iba ang inyong pakay. Okay? Sang-ayon. Kasi hindi naman pang sarili ang aming sinasabi. Kami representante ng taong bayan na sa tingin namin, yun ang nararapat gawin. Pero, gaya ng sinabi ko, ako'y chair ng special committee with my colleagues, ay isang sangay ng gobyerno, so dapat magsang-ayon lahat. Yun. Okay. Salamat po. Magtanghalian po kayo. And we ask for the inputs and we will schedule a visit with Senator Binay and the other, Senator Cayetano, Coco. Sino pang members ng iba? Senator Coco and Senator Angara. Then we have to ask you to submit, NCCA na, to submit jointly to us for the NEP of 2025, which is for the first quarter of this year, para masama na sa NEP, hindi natin amendment yung 2025. That means that's soon. Within the next few months, submit to us by next month. Yeah, budget na for 25. Give us a ballpark figure of what you need for rehab for 2025, right? I always see you whispering to PMG. Why are you always whispering? Are you an interpreter? Huh? You're Filipino, right? Yeah, I always see you whispering eh. Okay, okay.
Good
Sige.
afternoon, Madam
Good
Chair.
afternoon. You always whispering kasi.
Yes.
I don't think he's a foreigner
Opo.
and he's able to speak. You keep on whispering,
Opo.
parang translator. Sabi, ba't ganun? Oo.
Opo. Magandang hapon po, Madam Chair.
Okay, okay. Sige.
Ako po ang Chief of Staff po ng Postmaster
Okay.
General. Part of the, ano din po, yung Rehabilitation Committee po of the Post Office. Maraming salamat po.
So the special committee, I should have done this last year, but we're so busy. Anyway, the special committee, we suspend it first. Suspend na lang. We suspend the first hearing of the special committee. Then pending the submissions, we'll do an ocular and maybe do a TWG after this. Thank you so much, Senator Binay. Thank you to the Fire Protection, all the agencies, Central Post Office, and our favorite cultural agencies.